Saw this advertisement on Facebook that they were looking for people to the local shelter. They were looking for people to take dogs on walks, just so they could, disconnect from the shelter. And I thought, that's me. I go on a walk on a daily, and I wouldn't dare to go on a hike because I was afraid to go solo, outside of town and whatnot. And I thought, this is a win-win situation. And so it's too many emotions. Anyway, and so I thought, this is me. And so I volunteered, and I started going there. Good Lord. And the second that I entered the shelter, it never was for me like, I feel so sorry for you guys and I want to feed you up until you explode. It was a relatable feeling. And it was like, I saw these dogs that, not all of them, but the ones that had gotten there recently, they had this look on them. And when something is scared for his life, I can relate. And I knew how hard it is to pull through that, because I had fallen into a dark pit after the car crash and whatnot, and I had to climb myself on my own that pit into the light with very little assistance. And I'm not gonna cry. And so I know all too well what it's like, and it was like, you saw those eyes. I was like, man, when I was in those times, I wish someone would have shown up, hold my hand, and not even feel sorry for me, but just hold my hand and tell me, stand up, let's go, you can do this. And push me, to the exterior. And it would have been easier, wouldn't have taken shorter, but it wasn't my case. And so when I saw those eyes, it was like, oh God, I'm gonna cry. It was like, nobody, what I thought to myself and what I told them, in here, we're not giving up, Nobody's giving up in here. In here, we're not afraid. In here, we're not sad. In here, we fight. We might struggle, but we fight, and we conquer, and we succeed. And that's what we do in here. And that's what I've been doing every single morning, ever since I started volunteering there. Pushing them forward. And you have seen him on numerous vlogs. The panda who I wanted to adopt, that really pushed at least me to the extremes. The day that Panda arrived at the shelter, he was in hiding. He had signs that they had tried to hang him, and he was in hiding in a cage, scared for his life. He wouldn't allow for anyone to approach him, let alone touch him. And he had this look And that day when I arrived there and saw him for the first time, it was like, okay, so today we're not going anywhere. We're not paying attention to anyone else. And I sat in there, not facing him, next to him, risking a little bit my integrity. And I sat in there up until he started to approach. And this took a few days of going there, sitting, not saying anything, having some treats, creating some curiosity on him. And we started to bond. And so after that, I have several marks from the panda that are gonna stay forever in me. He wouldn't walk on a leash. He wouldn't let anyone touch his neck but me. To this day, he still had issues with that. He would allow me to touch his neck, but he wouldn't be so confident with the majority of other people. Some would, but not all of them. And then it was time to socialize him, and he would start jumping, and I would have to wear numerous layers of clothing because he would jump and bite, and he would jump and bite. And not just playful bite, but I'm gonna tear your arm apart bite. And instead of punishing him or just thinking you're a lost cause, it was like, I'm not gonna react just to show you that that's not the way to go. And slowly but surely he started turning around, and such was the challenge that I enrolled a dog training center for humans, of course, and I took dog training lessons because that's what it took to become half an ethologist, to understand the ways and the highways and the byways into the mind of panda. And finally, he became, after a year and a half of work, consistent work, look, I'm gonna slip and fall, he became the goofiest, friendliest, most well-behaved dog you would ever come across, and smart as hell. Super smart. He is super smart. And he's not with me because you all saw what happened with me in COVID and work and everything. And so I thought, I need to get a stability to provide for him. And if such was the case, I would adopt him and his best friend, Grant, because they were best buddies. But one fine day, they transferred them to another shelter. And they were gone. Needless to say, the first dog that got adopted in that shelter was a panda, because yeah, so much time and work and effort. And when I learned that news, Jesus, that was a hard one, because I thought to myself, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pick him up or pick them up, and they're gonna come with me. And all of a sudden, some stranger comes along, lucky person, and finds this cute dog, well behaved, that doesn't know the story of, and takes it home. And so when the panda and Grant left the shelter, I thought about living the shelter too, because it was like, there's no point. There is no point. But there's always some other dog to fight for, to help, like Kayla being deaf. Always another challenge, always another reason to wake up and jump into this ugly, warm, comfy gear, have your morning coffee, drive to the shelter, and start it all over again every single day. And the salary that I got from it was better than any payroll, because it was love, companionship, yeah, a lot of love, friendship, interspecies friendship, but friendship nonetheless. And that's the best exchange that one can get, right? But yeah, I don't know, yesterday when we delivered to the foster home, last one, I didn't want to react in front of the rest of people, but then I went home and cried and bawled, and I woke up and I was crying. I am a little bit teary. I feel, honestly, in all sincerity, I feel like this town holds no more for me. Anyway, thank you for being here with me. Signing off. And yeah, once again, thank you, because I'm stopping. It's not much else. There's not much else to say, and I'm stopping filming. But thank you for having come along with me.